It is 6:01. And, we're gonna have to start with a roll call. So tonight in the planning board, we have Penny Morel, and we have Mr. Richard Baker, and we have Richard Surgeon, we have Mr. Greg Alexander, myself, Sarah Langet, and Mr. Hans Rasmussen. And the public, I would welcome our participants tonight. And can you guys please introduce yourselves?
Jordan Richards.
William Richard,
Don Becker with Haley Ward.
Don Higgins.
Right, so that said, we have a forum. And, we're gonna have Mr. Baker and Mrs. Morel join the board tonight for a session. I would like to entertain the concept of possibly moving item B at the beginning, because it might be very short, maybe like a minute. So we can dismiss the applicant, for the country K92. So very quickly, this is my take into it very quickly. When I look at the application, it says that there's some sections here that the CEO can do. And I look at number 3 and number 2. Number 3 says that the expansion of the existing pavement or impervious surfaces to a maximum of total footprint of 7,500 square feet. So when I looked at that, we actually have no expansion whatsoever. And then the impervious area is 4,000 square feet. I read it here someplace.
Are you doing the Richards one?
It was page 14 or so.
Sarah,
Yes,
are you doing the Richards one?
I'm doing B, Tracy Markham for country K92. So they have brought the whole application to the board, but I feel that maybe this is something that Hans can do on his own, because in page 19, item 55, provide the total area of the previous area of development or use, including but not limited to the footprint area of all structures, as well as paved level parking, roads and walkways, is 4,320. So that area in the application, when we look at the front of the application, page 1, it says this permit application is only for permits issued by the Belgrade Planning Board. Small projects or expansions may only require a permit from the Belgrade Code Enforcement Officer. These include: number 1, an expansion that exists in a non-residential building that is less than 2,500 square feet, or a expansion of 35 of original footprint, whichever is smaller. But there's no expansion that way. Then number 2 says, so to me, it goes along 1. And then number 2 says also a change of use of an existing non-residential use to a different non-residential use. And that's what we have in here, is it? And then number 3 said the expansion of existing pavement or other impervious surfaces to a maximum total footprint of 7,500 square feet. So if I just go by that, I would say, well, I think Hans can take care of that. But I'm not sure if I'm missing something, which I probably am.
I didn't see the application in the online packet, so this is the first time I've ever had any knowledge of this.
Sure.
Is this a change of a residential or something to a doggy daycare facility, or is it a
No.
new facility?
It's just a garage.
Garage on it.
It's kind of a shop.
Right. Technically, yes,
Technically,
nobody lives there,
upstairs.
no. It's just
But you did
two
rent
bedrooms.
it, right? We used to.
I did not know.
The owner.
It might have been.
So it's a non-residential building, it's a non-residential use. Change of use, so it does meet these criteria. So. The board with it, I'll just handle it. Wow.
I wanna make sure that we all concur into it. You'll be good with that? I forgot that you came here a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And, but at that point, we didn't have the information of the impervious area.
Right,
And I really gotta apologize because I just caught up with all this stuff this afternoon.
that's okay.
If I would have picked it up earlier, I would have probably set things in motion.
Perfect. Well, that's
It had
fine.
been a very difficult week the last week, starting last Wednesday.
Question,
Sure,
the reason it came as a commercial development review permit is because of paragraph D on the applicability. It says the establishment of a new non-residential use, including but not limited to gravel pits, mining operations, or whatever. Even if no buildings or structures are proposed. Have you already got a doggy daycare there, or is this something?
No, I have a doggy daycare in Winslow.
Okay. So that's where I see it would come under needing a permit at all, is that
so,
the general consensus?
well, so it will be because there's a new business there.
Yeah. I'm just trying to establish for sure,
Sure,
the reason for the permit at all, whether it's from the code officer or from. I see it probably falling under the establishment of a new residential, non-residential use.
it's a new non-residential use.
Yeah.
But that, in the general instructions, we say that if we have some exceptions that doesn't have to come to the board.
Yeah.
If the project is a small project or expansion that may only require permit from the Belgrade Code Enforcement Officer, this includes, if the project is small, a change of use of an existing non-residential to a different non-residential use. With exception if it was gonna be industrial, retail, or a restaurant. Or other, kind of business where there's gonna be increased traffic, store, and they will store flammable, combustible, or hazardous substances, so it will be like a gas station or something like that. And then the impervious surface is under 7,500 square feet.
That is the case, is it? Yeah, now it's there.
And I don't see number 3 as being applicable. I guess the question I would have is it a change of an existing non-residential use? Is there a residence on the property?
It's a
It's not a residence, no.
It used to be used for a garage. You know where it is on
No.
You go over the railroad tracks and bridge.
Yeah.
It's right there
On
on
the first place on the right. Okay.
There was an apartment upstairs that was rented at one point. And, this.
Shop or.
Tracy still owns it.
Okay.
Is that right? Tracy still owns it? Yeah.
And, Tracy, a guy or a woman, I just.
No, it's a guy.
Okay, one or two.
Yeah, yeah.
Does he use it for commercial use right now?
It was his shop for his heating,
Okay, so,
and he is no longer using it.
okay. I guess I would be okay.
Do we okay with it?
Yeah.
All right, so, I'll say that we take a quick vote, put a motion and take a quick vote to then kick this, back to, the code enforcement officer. So, I need a motion?
A second.
Yeah, so, okay, so the motion is to take this application and instead of, having the planning board, process it, it will be the, code enforcement officer. So get a motion from Peter and, Penny is seconded with this vote. Mrs. Morale,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
And Michelle, I will vote yes, it's, 5 in favor, no opposed. And this is being kicked back to hands. So it will be a lot easier for Mr. Fink.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll get it ready for you.
Sounds great. Okay, that's like that. Thank you all for your time.
No problem, thank
for all
you.
the help.
Yeah,
Have a good one. You too.
all right, that said, then we're moving back to item A. And this is, applicant Jordan and Celine Richards. Location is in 66 Spalding Point Road, map 46, lot 18. Purpose is a short land zone, removal of seasonal camp and build a year-round 3-bedroom home. And this application, we entertained it, I would say about a month ago. And we were waiting for some direction from the town lawyer. We got 2 different emails related that. And we shared that with the applicants. And so I will open the floor for discussion on the review of the lawyer. I think everybody has a copy of it. Thinking we go in order, we should look at first at the October 19th email. And I will say from that email.
Sarah, we never got the first.
So that again,
You got the second.
This is the first one. Okay. They read very similar, that one says, I have.
It's not the new.
That's the first one. And I have since, that is the second one.
Okay, so that kind of overrides this one.
Well, this,
Well,
yes.
both
this is
together.
intent For time to make a conclusion, which basically starts over here.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Mr. Shield, I think he print out the email and scan it and send it to you guys, but the second page was kind of cut off in the end. So I reprinted it as a PDF and sent it, but I don't know if you were able to open it up.
I was, I appreciate that, thank you.
You happen to have a printout of the application? Or the research application?
No, it should be previously,
Mhm. I don't want to, I'll get it.
you want my original?
I know. Keep it. Oh, get home, you know that.
Copy mine.
I got it right here, I just need to remember the date, it was sent. Put the other, put here. So any, you guys are ready to talk about the first, it's on the 5th of October.
See. See. I'm into what I'm doing. I'm gonna go with B. Well, see the D. That's the three.
I'm just transferring the last, Thursday in, September. Okay, about, I would say that with the first email, no problems with it. The first email basically, to me, what it says is that, by law, there's a stipulation that to the structure that is there, that's gonna be built, they have to be access, ramps for access and egress. And, that's not a problem. Then also, it says that, that there's a provision under the law, main statute, that, they can build a garage or a covered structure that it will be 2 times the size of the area of a car. So with the garage part, there's no problem whatsoever. It's built to the most set back there, everything else. Where, I find challenging to, still interpret what the, our, ordinance asked for. And actually, I have a nice picture of all that in the picture here. You guys remember when we talked to Collins and he sent us this picture?
Yeah.
And the setbacks and what is allowed by every setback and so on. And this one. So, if the structure will be in the 25 feet, zone forward, there's no expansion. Between 75 forward is, the cap is 100 square feet. 1,000 square feet, you're right. And in front of the 100 square feet is 1,500 is a cap. Or 30% of the original structure, whichever is smaller.
Well, the 30% doesn't apply in our town.
Not anymore, no.
Not anymore?
We have set numbers.
We're just the footprint.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the only difference in what was presented to me.
so then if the structure is in front of the 75 feet, it's only 25 feet height. And beyond the 75 feet on the 100, it can be 25 feet in height. So, that said, I think the thing we have to do is to look at the drawings.
Yes,
Is the original structure was 707, and the new structure, the numbers here. The new structure, the house is 1,008. The garage by itself was 576. And then there's a deck for the deck. It's a deck and the shed will count. I'm not sure about that.
It's what count,
There's a deck and there's a shed in the new.
they would count, if it's within 100 feet of the water, they count toward the square footage.
Okay.
And that goes to 1,824 square feet.
The original structure has the deck away from, down by the dock. Has it been moved back onto the structure already?
No, that would be a new deck
Okay,
on the front.
oh, and then the other deck is still down by the dock. Right there. Yeah,
Now, Penny just brought up a point that the deck down by the water would also count towards square footage.
remember that?
Yeah, any structure within 75 feet of the water counts toward 1,000.
Okay.
And any structure within,
I think it'll. Was that the permanent deck down by the water before or not?
According to the picture there.
Okay, they got a dock out there. And they got a deck. What's a stone planted down there? And then there's a deck off that parallels the shore. Is that deck permanent? Or temporary? In other words, if it's temporary, take it out at the end of the.
We can take it out. It's there, it's just there to keep the children essentially from going into the water, because it's a 4-foot drop
Okay,
to the water.
Right.
And they put a railing up on that to keep them from, we have grandchildren, and we don't want them going in the water.
so that deck is it wooden?
Yeah.
So it's there it's there 12 months out of the year?
Yes.
Yes and no?
Correct, it is.
Okay, all right, so it's a permanent deck, okay? All right. And then the dock that goes out in the water, does that come out or stay in?
That comes out.
That comes out, okay, that's temporary. So getting back to what your question was,
Yeah.
that dock there would be part of the footprint. Okay, right,
The deck, not the dog.
Yeah.
it's correct, the wooden piece, okay? And now, is there a measurement here for that deck?
With the deck, yeah, sure,
It's 4 by 12.
Yeah.
What are we trying to figure out here? So,
but,
is it just a small, there's a small portion of the house in front of the 75-foot line, right? It looks like the 100-foot line's at the back, almost at the back of the house. And then the garage is beyond that. So, what are we trying to figure out? Square footage in front of the 75-foot square, 75-foot line? Is that what we're trying to figure out?
yes, we're trying to figure out the square footage.
Because it can't be any more than 1,000 in front of 75 feet, but behind 75 feet. That doesn't count in front of the 75 feet, does it?
But I thought,
Behind 75 feet,
That
Right.
jumps up to 1,500.
1,500, you count everything in front of that. For the 1,500, you don't get 1,500 feet beyond 75 feet and 1,000 feet in it. You get 1,500 altogether.
There was one,
In front of the 100-foot mark.
In front of the 100-foot mark, you get
Yeah,
1,000 square feet, 1,500.
yeah,
But you don't get 1,500 in front of the 1,000 in front of the 1,500. Let me start over. You don't get 1,000 within 75 feet of the water. And then get another 1,500 feet in the next 25 feet. If you got 1,000 within, you get 500 feet
behind,
beyond.
Yeah.
Up to 100-foot.
so we got a total of 1,824. And the garage is 576 square feet. The garage is completely behind the 100-foot mark. So. Subtract that,
I'm missing the drawing where
Minus.
we see the,
576. That equals 1,248 in front of the 75-foot mark.
Maybe true, I just gonna make a point before we get further.
Oh, it's.
As much as I'd like to approve the application, I'm still back at where I was 2 weeks ago, even after the attorney opinion. That you have a structure with so many square foot, you move it back to the greatest practical extent. Then you get 1,000 square feet if it's within 75 feet of the water. But you don't, once you figure out where that old structure was. And that's where you don't get to expand closer to the water with your additional square footage. Yeah, I mentioned last time, I believe that the square footage, you get 1,000 square feet, but it can't be any closer to the water than what the size of the original structure. Why is one
It isn't,
tore down and back?
it's beyond the structure.
It is.
Where does it say?
Wait. He has no room to go to the side.
Well, I know it doesn't have, any, well, that's what's, but if you take the structure
Yeah,
that was torn down
yeah,
and you move it back to the greatest practical extent,
which is
that's.
gonna be, in front of the garage, right?
Yeah,
Body in the garage.
yeah, it's gonna attach to the garage.
Yeah,
Wherever that structure is located.
Yeah.
or The original,
yeah,
you can't then add on to make it go closer to the water.
He's not going to.
I might be further back.
He's not going to.
Well,
this is the thing, the structure, your structure, new structure is longer than the original structure.
Yes, it is.
So if the structure, let's say, is like this, and what Mr. Becker said, let's pretend that this here is a garage.
Yep.
If the length of the structure was this, okay, and we move it to the most practical extent, which is abutting the, back of the garage, we can, the new structure have to stop here. It cannot go forward. But your new structure is longer than the original one. So the new structure compared to the original one ends up like over here. So this is the portion that Mr. Baker is contending.
that's
Is
my,
that right?
that's my
But it's
opinion.
further back from the water
Yes.
than the original camp, even in total.
Right, but there was the original camp that was grandfathered where it was. When it's torn down, the grandfathering of it there is gone. And you have to move it back to the greatest practical extent. By then extending it, at that point, making it larger and going closer to the water, I don't think can be done. The board may not agree with me, but that's my opinion.
Okay, all right, and he can do what he wants to do if he can move that garage back further, but he can't, that's the problem,
That's right.
right? And, we talked about this before, so. We can't get the garage any closer to the power lines, okay, so we're gonna have to kind of work backwards. All right, so if you want the garage, we'll have the garage, and then the house itself. It's going to be a little bit shorter than what you anticipated it to be,
Yes,
and that's what he's trying to say, and I understand what he's saying, okay? So. Let's get down to what can you do? Can we talk about what you can do here?
Let's, before we go that way,
All right,
we understand this side of the, argument. Now, I wanna understand why, because I wanna understand this thing of, this is not gonna get me again. I wanna understand what we can do to the 100-foot mark and what we can have to the 75. I just cannot locate in my prints here, where's the foot mark in the prints? Where's that print?
May I offer a different perspective?
I think you're
Because
gonna,
I understand, Richard, what you're, and we tried to live by that, you relocated first and then you expanded.
This into the house,
yeah,
into the back of the house.
yeah,
And I'm just gonna wait until we have full attention.
So everything's
I
behind.
don't want to explain.
I think, allowed to
okay,
raise.
so, but what we need is 100 here, what we need to know is how much is in front of the 100,
where's it say?
that's what you were going with.
That's what I was going with.
Yeah.
What Rich is saying is, if we could move it back further, we're not gonna,
Yeah,
is what Rich said.
yeah,
What our lawyer, we should really talk about what our lawyer,
yeah,
decipher what our lawyer said to us first.
okay,
Because, lawyer talks, so we should put it in layman's terms where we know exactly what the lawyer said first of all.
so why you think that the lawyer says?
The way I,
That's the second email.
yeah, and it's, I don't know, I can't really understand exactly the way they word things, because they talk in circles. And, you can do this, but you can do this, and you do this, it's like, he doesn't really nail anything, I don't understand it.
Okay. So,
But on the other hand, you know, he could expand right where the camp is. So, you know, if you're gonna talk about moving it back before the expansion, well, he can expand where it is, so. How, so why are you taking that expansion away from him, because he wants to move it back? So,
Instead of 15 feet away from the water, the new house is gonna be essentially, I think it's 53 feet away from the water. Any shoreline zone ordinance I've ever read basically said, to the best of ability.
Yeah.
Essentially, and again, that's pretty, it's a little bit vague, but the bottom line, we truly have placed this every way we can place it to get as far away from the water as we can. We have invested thousands of dollars in a brand new septic system so that, you know, we really didn't have to do that, but we're going to, because the bottom line is, we had to move this back even further than things around because of the power line issue. And we didn't realize this power line issue was gonna be such a problem all the way around. The garage is basically 100 feet away from the water. Some of the house is 75 feet, you know, back 75 feet away from the water. We're making things better. We're not trying to make things worse. And I understand that we all have to work within parameters, but we have truly done all we can do to get this to work.
And we agree completely with you, Mr. Richards. Thing is that the ordinance speculated a ruling.
Yep.
And
I understand.
we have to pass everybody by the same rule. So I understand what you said, but this is the thing. So if the house is here, we have to take it just as it is, and we will take more to the most practical extent. The garage is right behind
So we're talking
the
about
100 foot line
construction
here.
or replacement.
So it says that
This
he
section
can, in front of the 100 foot line,
right here.
he can move that up here and have an expansion up to 1,500 feet.
Yes, as long as it's not toward the water. The bigger structure. So if you take, say it was 10 by 10, it's not 10 by 10, but say it's 10 by 10, and you can get it back here at 10 by 10.
Yeah.
Structure.
And then you want to expand it, because even for
So,
handicap
This section right here.
You can do it to the sides.
you can do it to the side, but if you make it
relocate.
longer,
Yeah.
you haven't really moved this structure back to the greatest practical extent, because you're then expanding or adding to that's, again, that's my opinion.
So where,
But I have 10-foot setbacks.
But that's not,
I can't make it wider.
we can't make it back to the
It's
setback.
a 50-foot lot,
So what are you saying, is you can expand?
so.
and I have to have 10-foot setbacks. That means I can only go 30 feet.
So where in the ordinance does it
So on that,
cannot,
that fixes that section.
move forward? There's a part that I'm missing completely.
It's not-
And as
Is that, in
Mr.
you,
Richards said, it may not be explicit.
Because this
But,
gives the word
One of
latitude.
the things, if I go to C1, illegal existing non-conforming structure may be added to or expanded after obtaining a permit. and If such addition or expansion conforms with the following criteria,
Original structure. So
does
this is
not
where you're.
increase the non-conformity of the
What's
structure,
in front of the
Meets
subdivision, the red stand
standard
now.
of land use
So
specified in
this
this
reason,
not
this
so prohibited.
non-conforming situation.
Again, here's where I say you're now making it more non-conforming because you moved the original structure back. That's what was granted.
yeah,
You moved it back, it says you can move it back. It's great,
yeah.
but then adding to the front,
It's
make it that's how I look at it. And I'm not trying to create problems. I wish I could say,
I think it's pretty.
I'm okay with
Okay.
but again.
Is there any place in the ordinance that we can read like no conforming
Yeah,
definitions?
non-conforming. Non-conforming structure, not preventing the one of the more of the following dimensional requirements. Setback height, which is outdoor because
See, we're talking again about footprint, that's why I'm getting hung up with
That's where it says the whole rule for.
because, as long as we don't go beyond the footprint, we should be fine, I would say.
Yeah, well, would you? And then the other part that I read is if the total footprint of the original structure can be relocated or reconstructed beyond the required setback, no portion of the relocated or reconstructed structure shall be replaced or constructed at less than the setback requirement. That is talking about meeting the setback, but I take the same position with, if you move it back, even if it's not meeting the setback, you can't then make it more non-conforming by making it bigger, coming closer.
The problem with that I have, I interpret that as taking the existing building and trying to do something with it. This is a new building. That doesn't, I don't think it applies.
I think it does
Or
because,
replacement, section 6.
pardon me?
Are you looking at C6, or replacement structure?
Yeah,
And that,
that and C1.
yeah, well, it is replacement, it's not reconstruction.
It's reconstruction.
Well, I mean, it's not, relocation. It is replacement. Of section 6.
Then I wish I could say I do understand the situation. I wish I could say, yes, I'm fully, I'm not against the project, except that my interpretation of the ordinance is what I feel I need to act on. With part of it saying, ignore that, but I can't.
So now let's get back to what the lawyer had said.
So do we have an
lawyer
agreement, what, do we have an agreement what the lawyer said?
So
When
the
we're talking
lawyer
about,
said that they can go in front of the appeals board for a variance.
They'll never make it.
Yeah.
They gotta show hardship, and that the hardship isn't caused by any of their own actions. Well,
Disabled.
that's the hardship, but is it caused by any of their own actions, meaning the relocation of the building?
That's okay. When you go to the appeals board, there's two ways to do it. Interpretation of the law, you know, was incorrect by at the lower level, it's left at the planning board. Or the variance, you have to meet those three or four steps, which is hard, it's impossible. They'd have to go to the appeals board and do that, this board here interpreted the law incorrectly. And you have to prove that to the appeals board. So the burden of proof is really high for them. Okay? It's higher than here for the applicant to do that, to prove that's wrong. So it's best that is for, if we can decide here at this level what he can do. So I think if we could figure out here, what can he, well, how big a building can he do? Let's kind of work that way, the footprint. So what do you think he could, if it was your building, and you wanted to move it back in the water, like they wanted to do? What's the biggest building you could put in here?
The biggest building would be the size of the structure, except for what you can put behind it and alongside of it.
Okay, so let's come up, can we work together some number of what you can do?
what was the original length of the structure?
Okay,
So we can work it out, but it'd have to be certainly acceptable to Mr.
well, maybe we can try to work it out. What, you know, what you think
One of the
biggest one
things
you
that-
could do, then we'll kind of come up with a proposal.
And one of the
See what he
things
says. Throw it back in his court.
And one of the things I thought was, and I don't know if it's even feasible or possible, is to flip the garage around so that it isn't, it kind of turn it 90 degrees so that it's smaller.
We're building 24 by 24.
Fine. Guess that doesn't help anyway.
We played with this every possible way to make, and the problem is the setback, it's a 50-foot lot, so you can't do anything with that within that 10 feet. And with the septic system, the way where it is, we could have moved that back slightly to make things better. But again, that power line goes through, we have to stay 15 feet back from that, and that's what really the issue. My disability and that power line is the issue that we're dealing with here. And I hate to throw this in front of you folks, but that's how it is.
And I hate to have the position I have in this situation, because I want to help you.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think I really think that the issue that I have, and again, I spent 13 years where you are. We always looked at that best use. Sometimes things are great. Sometimes you have to bend things a little to make things work. You don't want, you can't just ignore the law, because the subdivision ordinances are very important to make things right. But sometimes things just aren't perfect.
Yeah, I understand. At the same time, I have to think, if I said this was okay, the next time somebody comes in without a handicap and wants to do the same thing, how do I say that's okay?
Well, the issue is that Hans didn't do this to begin with. And the DEP can also override this issue. And I don't want to go there. I don't want to go down that avenue, because I believe that you folks are doing the best you can do, and if you don't prove this, I understand. But the bottom line is, as far as disability goes, I know that they can, because of my disability, work with me. If you look at in your regulations, DEP can override this because of disability issue.
I don't know if I agree, but, regardless, I'm in a position I don't really want to be in, because I want you to have what you need.
So let's try to, do something else here, which. So when we're talking about the length of the old structure. Basically. This is one. The length of the old one will be including the deck from here to here, will be there.
Yeah, at least the deck.
Where is it?
That's like
What's the
less than
driveway?
6 feet wide. I wasn't included. But is your walkway from your deck to the dock, is that more than 6 feet wide?
No, it's they're concrete.
From here,
Yeah.
So
here,
it cannot,
from here.
therefore, he is allowed to have something.
He could remove it, otherwise, at this point, we're not talking about square footage, I think we're trying to just figure out.
That's length,
Okay.
okay?
I could move the shed beyond the 100-foot line.
This is.
If that's how-
I'm not sure that would help, although.
In every direction, we get off the side boundaries, you're gonna have to wait. And you will have less square footage in front of 100
This is
feet.
the land here.
And it does not.
Yeah.
If I come here.
That's the argument. Don't vote on it. Or you vote on it.
So we told him, it was 6:40, about 4 people. Then this one, this is the length of the house from the deck. More or less is that to that point.
Sarah,
Trying to border it up to here. And that, so it'll be all here. So we're estimating that he has to move the structure. Lean to that. That right here. What do you think?
So.
Ben, oh, we go. Yeah,
This is 100. So that's as close as it can be.
The scale of that is not the same as the large one.
So, it's gonna be in front of the 100-foot line, regardless. So he has. So if he was, he's allowed space in front of the 100-foot line, because there's no way to get it back. Beyond. So this is still less conform, I mean, more conforming than what this is.
Oh, I don't disagree with that at all.
So, you know, so it's more conforming, it's not making it less conforming, and it's got the ability to have structure in front of a 100-foot mark, because you can't move it back beyond the 100-foot mark.
Yeah, see, where I'm coming from is, once you move it that back, footprint, you may be able to, even rotate. Soon as you move it back to the various parts of the stand, anything that's added this way is making what was the grandfathered structure now back here, you're expanding toward the water with your addition. Again, you may not agree with that, and
You know, what would you do with your application? If you own the property, how would you make it fit?
that's exactly what you will do. And you will go right there.
What you want is.
Same thing.
you look to see, one of the things I thought is, did you say, like you said, could you design it with 2 bedrooms and make it smaller?
The two are upstairs, it's wasted space, it's, you know, I gotta build a roof, so I'm gonna put 2 bedrooms up there, just banquets, but. I really would prefer to have a small, you know,
no,
2-bedroom house, but
you know,
the bottom line is you've got that space up there.
I think we have the same.
It's just 1 bedroom.
I think we would do both.
The whole point is I need a bedroom where I don't have to go upstairs. And we've downsized it. We've downsized this house twice to get it to where it is, so that we can become.
So you don't think you could downsize it anymore, go to smaller living area?
No. Not really.
Well, with what you're saying, there's no downsizing, it should be the same size as the camp, from what you're saying.
That's not possible. We could do
Because
that.
you're basically 10 feet from the property lines on each side,
Yes,
Underneath, but can.
yeah,
no, actually, the one, the camp now is not 10 feet.
well, but what you're proposing is,
It will be. We're making it more
you
compliant.
know, do you have any spare on the sides, or is it?
And they've got a 50-foot lot. That's basically with the 6-inch walls. We're gonna end up with a 25-foot house essentially inside.
variance on the top of that choice of the car. Length and everything. So, yeah, that could be reduced, simply because that's what the variance is about.
I was thinking about that. So if you guys go back to the letter of, October 19th. Yeah. The 19th, and it's the very last paragraph. The lawyer says, there's a law 38 and 8 NRS 4353 that allows a municipality to enact an ordinance that authorizes a board of appeals to grant a variance to the owner of a dwelling who resides in the dwelling and is a person with permanent disability for the construction of a place of storage or parking for a non-commercial vehicle owned by the person. No other purpose. As long as the width and length of the structure is no larger than 2 times the width and the length of the non-commercial vehicle. So it will be 2 times the width. So if the vehicle is rectangular, it will be 2 times the width of the vehicle.
How long, how wide the car, truck?
Well, you can take whatever.
That's standard two
So
car garage.
with 24,
A standard garage is 24 by 24.
Right.
And my truck is probably 10, either 8 or somewhere between 8 and 10 feet. I don't, I've never measured it, but.
so,
So you
You
think
can blow the doors.
2-car garage?
That's what the rule says,
Right.
double sized vehicle, so
Right, okay,
two car garage.
all right, good. I got that.
so it being the length 24 is more than the length of the vehicle, isn't it?
We'll say
It
and
says 2
or
times away,
2
right?
times.
more.
So that's even bigger.
Yeah, be bigger.
24 by 24 is a standard, is pretty much the smallest standard. It's a 2-bay garage.
We were thinking that maybe
And it says double that, right? Double a regular.
this is kind of 2 times the width and the length,
Yeah, so that's a 2-bay garage.
okay?
So it's gonna be 24 by 20. Basically, it's full.
One of the things I had hoped the attorney would address in that letter was the issue of the whole concept of move it back to the greatest practical extent. Does that prohibit you from adding to the front or making it a bigger structure? Yeah, at least making it bigger toward the water. I know you can make it wider if you didn't have the setback issue, but he didn't really address that. That was my main interest in when you suggested tabling and putting on to the attorney. That was the main issue that I'd like to have seen addressed. If he said, oh, yeah, it's making the structure itself, and when you're done with it, is less conforming than what the original one was. I'd be jumping up and down and saying, go for it. But he didn't address that issue. And so I didn't see anything in the letter that helped me change my position, and I wish he had.
Well, can we, send another letter to the attorney
ask him to clarify.
I'm not sure he can, because he said it's up to the board to determine.
Determine what's practical.
Alright.
And that's what the ordinance
And-
says, board needs to determine.
Alright,
And I need to make it clear, I'm not the only one on the board making this decision. I've got my opinion, and you guys have yours, so. If you disagree with me, disagree.
right, and well, you know, okay, I understand where you're going with it, yeah, alright, okay.
But if, you know, I don't wanna put the Richards another month behind here. But, you know, as I said, I wouldn't mind hearing from him addressing that, but as Hans also said, this is for the board to determine.
That's what he said in his meeting. Board needs to determine. So what's practical? Here we are again arguing practical.
You know, I keep looking at, it, you know, it is less conforming what you want to do, even though you think when you're at your point, you know, going forward, it's not, that makes it, more non-conforming. Well, bigger picture, it is. It is.
And I don't argue at all
Yeah,
that it's
and I
less
think-
conforming, less non-conforming than the other structure sitting 15 feet in the water.
And, yeah, and he's, in this situation, his hands are tied, the applicant's hands are tied, so a lot better than it is where it is now. And I think you gotta, consider that and vote on it. That's I'm going.
I'm hung up with the concept that, you know, almost the whole garage is behind the 100-foot mark. So in my mind, that doesn't count for the square footage.
What is it? I mean, that's true.
Is the
What?
square footage is not an issue. I haven't really followed that whole thing of your discussion, so. It does meet the 1,000 and the 1,500 until.
So if I can just reiterate here. Section 12C6. What you were. I'm gonna quote it again, if the total footprint of the original structure can be relocated or reconstruction beyond the required setback area. No portion of the relocated or reconstructed structure shall be replaced or constructed at less than the setback requirement for new structure. The power line there, a little cutout piece,
Yeah,
it doesn't fit. So that throws that away. All right, that whole expansion. That doesn't meet the setback. It's not possible. It's like my terminology is not good. Doesn't-
so let's
Throw away,
reread that again, so.
The total footprint of the original structure
Yeah.
can be relocated or reconstruction beyond the required setback area. Well, it can't,
No, because of the power line,
it can't.
all right? So that's
So,
out.
now, is he allowed the expansion in front of the setback area? Because the new structure is less than what the expansion allows. So when you look at, again, the conformity, he's more conforming to the property lines. He's more conforming as being away from the lake. He's less than the allowable expansion in front of 100 feet. The only thing he's not doing is moving everything back as far as possible. Possible, exactly. Possible and practical are two different things.
Right.
So
He's going back traffic. Yes.
So you all have to figure out what's practical. And it might be a split vote, but I think we talked about it.
You follow that?
I'm okay, we can't debate this for eons, the board needs to, I think at some point to say, we might have a split vote, but we need to move forward.
Exactly. It's in 45 minutes now. And this is the only hangup.
So, we put forward a motion to approve the application as it is. I'm not sure that we've never been this year before,
The fact that we approved
because
it.
we haven't done the finding of facts or anything like that.
I think we do the, motion to approve after I don't know,
After the finding of facts, isn't it?
that's my thinking.
Yeah. So, but if we, I guess my point is, if we go through the finding of facts, and we don't approve the application, it's, no, it's,
We definitely gotta go before we approve the application. We declared that the application a month ago, I guess, was complete.
yeah,
Now we have to do, I think, the findings of that. And
but they're gonna pass all the findings of facts for sure. So while we spend all that time into that, if we actually not gonna approve the application because of this, on the setback thing.
But
we don't know that we're not gonna approve it.
we don't know yet. We should need, we need to come to this end of the discussion and now go through the findings of fact. Have we done some of the findings of fact?
No.
We gotta do that next.
Yeah.
Right?
That's my thinking.
Yeah.
You're doing me.
So, we want to proceed with the finding of facts with the application for the shoreline. Okay, first of all, I should say that we are closing the discussion on the application. And we're gonna proceed, now we're gonna proceed with the final fact for applicants, Jordan and Celine Richards. Applicant address is 66 Spalding Point Road. And, it's map 46 lot 18. This final facts, the applicants on date applied of the shoreline permit for building a new year-round home and remove camp. The application was presented to a planning board on 9/21, 10/05, and 11/02. These final facts and conclusion law were developed in conjunction with consideration of permit application. Conclusions of law. Based on the application materials, testimony, statements, evidence, documents, and all materials submitted. The above finding of facts and planning board finds that the project is, and this is the part that is permitted. Under section 14, table 1 ordinance, and other makes the following conclusions and the provisions of the section 16D of the ordinance. So,
Section 14 is land use, and it is permitted.
okay,
Yeah, residents.
so we keep going with that then. So, will maintain safe and healthy conditions. The board found the standard was met on, what is this statement that we use all the time?
Record,
Public,
admission of public record, whatever.
public record,
And,
records and it was PREN, isn't it? Public records and,
I can't remember.
We thought they was there.
Never military, yeah.
You had the initials and.
Yeah, PREM,
Public record
and,
submissions.
And so much.
voter records and submissions.
No.
Well, that is PRAS. By, the board found this standard was met on public records and submissions by vote of. So, Mrs. Morale? Yes or no on that? Was it met?
Which one was that again, sir?
Okay, we'll maintain safe and healthy conditions. The board found this standard was met by, public records and submissions. We go to vote now, so, Mrs. Morel,
What is that?
Safe and healthful conditions.
safe,
I'm sorry?
Safe and healthful conditions. That-
Oh.
maintaining
yes.
safe and health conditions.
Yes,
Yes, Mr. Baker,
Yes,
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander, and Ms. Erlangen will vote 5 in favor, none opposed. Will not result in water pollution, erosion, or sedimentation to surfaces. The board found the standard was met by PRAS. And we vote, Mrs. Morale,
yes.
Mr. Baker,
yes,
Mr. Alexander, Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
and Ms. Erlangen is 5 in favor, none opposed. Will adequately provide the disposal of water, of all wastewater. The board found the standard was met by PRAS. Mrs. Morale,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
yes,
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander, and Ms. Rangel was 5 in favor, none opposed. Will not have an adverse impact on spawning waters, fish, aquatic life, bird, or other wild habitat. The board found the standard was met by PRAS. Mrs. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
yes,
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander, and Ms. Rangel 5-0, none opposed. Will conserve shore cover and visual as well as actual points of access to inland waters. The board found the standard was met by PRAS. Mrs. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
yes,
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
And Ms. Erlanger is 5 in favor, none opposed. Will protect archaeological and historical resources as designed in the comprehensive plan. The board found the standard was met by PRAS. Mrs. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
yes,
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander, and Ms. Erlanger vote yes, is 5 in favor, none opposed. Will avoid problems associated with floodplains, plain development and use. The board found this standard was met on PRAS. Mrs. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
yes,
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
and Ms. Erlanger is 5 in favor, none opposed. Is this in conformance with the provisions of section 15, land use standards? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through each one of the items are to be part of the standard, and then we'll vote at the end. Let's see which ones do apply. Minimum lot standard. That's yes, that applies.
you're just going,
Yeah,
I would say that
it's
applies.
in conformance with minimum lot standard, yes.
Where are those listed?
Right, it's an
In
exist-
section 15.
it's an existing lot, so
Huh?
it's a default, it's an existing lot. So it's.
I just want to
defaulted.
follow it in the thing.
Oh, you may not have one.
Okay.
Principal and accessory structures.
I didn't hear you. I didn't understand it.
Principal and
Oh,
accessory
yes.
structures. Is in conformance with the provisions of section 15 land use. So in land use, we have principal and accessory structures.
Yes, definitely.
So yes. Campgrounds,
No,
not applicable. Individual private campsites,
no,
not applicable. Commercial and industrial uses, not applicable. Parking areas, not applicable.
well, yes,
Oh, well, the garage, well, there's no parking area,
well, not a parking area, okay.
okay? Roads and driveways,
I think I'm mixing up this application with another one, where they were gonna build a driveway. You're not building a new driveway.
No,
Okay, yeah.
well, we're moving the driveway because it needs to come down the center
Yeah.
instead of off to the left.
I would say the,
okay?
it's moving, yeah.
Signs, not applicable. Stormwater runoff,
Yes.
yes. Septic waste disposal system,
Yes, you're
Yes.
putting in a new one, or is it already in?
No,
essential services,
No,
mineral exploration and extraction.
no,
We don't have gold mine there, do we?
no,
Agriculture, not applicable. Timber harvesting, NA. Clearing or removal vegetation of activities other than timber harvesting, NA. Hazard trees, storm damaged trees, or dead trees removal, NA.
that actually is applicable.
Oh, thank you. Exemption of clearing and vegetation removal requirements. NA.
No, it is.
Is up,
It's not, this is exemption, it's not exemption.
revegetation requirements. Applicable.
Yes.
Erosion and sedimentation control,
yes,
applicable. Shoreline stabilization,
not planning to do anything to the shoreline.
No,
NA. Soils,
Well,
soils,
I would say
And they,
that's more geared towards septic system and stuff like that.
Or the permanent septic,
Or
area,
legal,
and then digging a hole.
yeah. And they're
Well,
gonna
it's
be
applicable
bringing in
then.
soil, so.
applicable. Water quality,
Yes,
applicable. Historical or archaeological sites,
and
NA. Resource protection, NA. So. It's in conformance with provision section 15, land use standards. We're gonna be, including, the following standards: minimum lot standards, principal accessory structures, roads and driveways, stormwater runoff, septic waste disposal system, hazard trees and storm damaged trees and dead tree removal, exceptions to clearing and vegetation removal requirements, revegetation requirements, erosion and sedimentation control, soils and water quality. The board found that these standards were met on evidence in record and further as it was mentioned. Mrs. Morale,
Yes,
Mr. Baker,
based on principal and accessory structures, I reluctantly say no.
what
okay?
was that? Can I change my vote? I thought we had met all those standards, but the other
So
question.
that's what we discussed about whether you
Yeah.
can then add to the front or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was in that findings.
Yeah, because it goes under B, principal and accessory structures.
Yeah, that was.
That would turn your vote to no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, And Mrs. Morel, you change your vote
No.
to no, right? Mr. Sherman,
Read that question again,
so,
just read.
okay. Is in conformance with the provision of section 15 of land use. The board found that this standard will be met on the evidence and record and the following. And it's a total of 10 of them. One of them is the principal and accessory structures. That is, isn't that 12C?
Yeah, that is section 15, we're working in section 12. So that question really, does it belong on this finding of fact?
Pardon me?
Section
So-
15 is
So,
Yeah,
Land
yeah,
use.
that's section 15, but we're talking about the land use.
section, we're in section 12. With this land use. We're in non-conforming structures.
Yeah, but the land use standards. Well. I'm basing it on non-conforming structures,
That's not
principal and accessory structure.
Okay,
so section 15 talks about those non-conforming structures.
no, section 12 was.
Prohibited
So
expansion.
being as non-conforming, it can't meet section 15. So, is that a flaw in the finding of fact?
Well, you know, if that would be the case, and we will approve A, we basically approve the whole application. Where in the application we're gonna address the difference of opinions that we have with section 12.
It's in the board's determination. That's what the ordinance says, and that's what the attorney said. So. The discussion, 45 minutes was. If it can't be moved all entirely behind 100-foot mark. Is he allowed the expansion? In front of the 100-foot mark? Well, he can't move it all, and this is where I think there's differences in the room. As to what standard is applicable. So with the power line where it is, this footprint here.
But
could
where,
not be put
I
on-
understand all that, but where do we mark that in the application? Where in the finding of facts?
Finding of facts.
Because that's part of the finding of facts.
Well, the finding of facts, minimum lot size standards. It doesn't meet that because it's a non-conforming lot. Okay? You go to the second. Principal and accessory structures. On a non-conforming letter of record, which. So it talks about,
Are you in section 3? Oh, C3.
again, section 12 deals with non-conforming,
Right.
so. I'm not sure why our findings of that focuses only on section 15.
No. So should we make in B, place a statement next to B, section,
Section 12 is not conforming.
section 12. Address section 12.
There, I would argue, after looking at this, 15B, even though it's a non-conforming structure we're talking about, it says unless otherwise provided in this ordinance, all new principal and accessory structures are expanded till be set back at least 100 feet from a great pond. my thinking is that that standard, although it doesn't specifically talk about the structure being torn down and rebuilt, that this is essentially the main issue of whether or not it's meeting the required setback is where the concept comes from. It links it to number 15, section 15. But that's the only place I think we can act on to it, if you will. Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanna make a note on B on both, to look at section 15B and section 12C1. I think that covers both sides.
So you're gonna say that it met on.
So- So the thing is, we used to, we're gonna have to go one by one. Because we used to bundle all them up and vote together in that item number 8. But because at least that one is, I guess we had disagreement in the group about it. B will be the only one that we all not gonna agree about.
I have no issue with anything else.
Okay. So I will say then, let's vote on all of them except for B first.
All right.
We're voting on all of it except for B. So, Mrs. Morel,
On this one?
all of them
Oh, okay,
except for B.
okay,
Not B.
yes.
Yes. Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Sergeant,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander, and me, we all vote yes, in favor, none opposed.
Did you go through the whole list?
Yeah, I mentioned all this, but we took out the B one. So now we're voting only on B. Okay? So, Mrs. Morale
Did not meet.
did not meet. So you are opposing that it was met. Okay, no. Mr. Baker,
No.
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
and Mr. on there, I vote no too. So it's 2 in favor, 3 opposed. So now, conditions of approval. We have the water storm runoff from new or expanded structures in accordance with section 51 of the Belgrade Shoreline zoning ordinance and main DEP best standard practices. We don't have any other restriction, will we?
So,
To allow for that. So, based on the final facts and commercial law on today, it is November 2nd, 2023 of the town of Belgrade. We still need to vote for approval. The shore, permit application of Gordon and Celine Pictures with the above conditions and a meeting of 11/2/23. Develop these written final facts and conclusional law and remand of the Belgrade Board of Appeals and adopt the findings on November 2nd, 2023. Okay. So, we want to vote on the whole application now.
On the application.
Yeah. So, I just, because we have one item that we're not in agreement, everything else is approved. When we approve the whole application, we're just considering, we know that one item was not approved.
So are you asking whether or not?
I'm not, we have never been before here, and this why,
I would say we probably vote on the application as a whole,
as a whole,
and that's the vote.
okay, so.
So what does the findings of facts do for us?
Basically tells you where people are coming from.
So I guess my question to you, Mr. Baker, is if I'm weighing this and we only disagree on one point and everything else is good.
Right.
When the person is approving the full application, then you say, yeah, we'll approve it, even when we miss that point, just
Somebody,
one portion of it.
be honest with you, I don't know for sure. But I assume somebody could vote to approve the project, although they voted no on one of the standards. Otherwise, as Craig said, what's the point of going through the findings of fact if that doesn't mean anything?
I think the finding of fact is exactly that, it's to support your decision. It's a supporting document.
Yeah.
It is not a decision document, it's a supporting document. And it's a checklist that everything's been discussed.
That's right. So, it doesn't have to be all approved,
It just shows where people's opinions lie. Of the board.
okay. So we now we are voting on the whole application. That here, that's,
Don't we have to say, vote that the findings of fact are complete? We just have a quick vote on that.
no, usually we do that with the commercial, we always get hung up in that one too. We usually do that for the commercial applications.
Oh, okay.
But for this one, we finish it, we won't have any extra, conditions of approval.
Discussion is.
Something that we never looked at, I guess, because do we have a, contractor?
No, we don't.
Yes, you do, David Hallowell.
Okay,
He is certified until 2030.
okay, all right,
I just don't have his number on there, but I've looked him up.
okay. So, so we're gonna go for the application now, the full application. So, Mrs. Morel,
Are you voting on whether to approve or disapprove?
approve the entire application.
To approve it.
to approve it or not approve it?
Don't we need a motion as to,
Okay,
how we're approving, I guess. It's second motion. Then we discuss it and what, we haven't done that yet, have we?
no, but we had discussion on it too, I guess, probably. So I need a motion to approve the application.
Alright, and a motion that we approve the application in front of us. That the application be approved. Period. Without any condition.
Okay, we, have a second? Any discussions about that?
Should we, if we approve the application, should we approve it with the condition that the area of the removed camp be revegetated?
No,
Sure. Yeah, that's standard in the, zoning ordinance.
Okay.
Section, 15O.
So we don't have,
Vegetation requirements, any relocated building must be revegetated.
okay. Any other items of discussion? Is well, mentioned that in the process of, closing this application, with approval or not, that we noted a good healthy discussion on the understanding of, the setbacks and what is allowed in each setback is, it's just, it's difficult to filter the whole thing with this particular application. So, all right, so we're voting now. Mrs. Morel? Mr. Baker?
No.
Yes.
Mr. Surgeon, yes, Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
and, I will have to say no. So the vote is 3 noes, 2 in favor.
So, where do I sign? I'm not gonna sign it, you wanna sign it? Well, I'm not gonna sign it, I'm not approving it, so why should I sign it?
So, Mr. and Mrs. Richard, is the process to go from here is to consult with the Board of Appeals.
We will.
And, I'm sorry. It was a very hard decision.
No, I don't. I appreciate your time, and I hope we appreciate your time. And we appreciate the process. Don't think it was correct, but we all have an opinion. Thank you.
Can I just ask, what is the process for the bill?
So,
We'll talk to
Is
Hans.
that through you, Hans, the Board of Appeals application?
I've never, called Mary. It's, go to the board.
so the best way to go about that is to call the front office tomorrow morning. And Mary Bogle is the clerk of the
Could you
county.
email that to us, please? That
Sure.
Information,
Sure.
thank you.
You have to, and
Yeah.
put it on.
Yeah.
You never say the time to your
Well, probably we should take a quick break. Yeah. Stay, we reconvene at 7:50. 7:44.
All right. Good, Joe. Lieutenant. How you doing? Good, Joe. Sit down. Long time no see, yeah.
Really, young girls all grown up.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
How's Amy?
Good.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. How good was?
Lost the Massachusetts,
Oh.
we had a little of our own.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like a mom. All right, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, yeah. That's right, yeah. Real. Yeah.
Donna,
Um.
how are you?
Go. Go.
Oh, he is?
By and see, I got a logging operation down.
In that field, that's what I thought, that's your property?
Yeah, that's what Peppers.
Oh, he's good. Yeah.
He's actually gonna pull out, I think, it's a little bit too muddy for him.
Well, there was a big tractor trailer in there one, I think when I was coming in here one night. And I saw, rows of mud from where he pulled out.
I was with my family one day, got to the over.
Yeah,
It's time to vacate.
yeah, so you get your firewood there.
I get it on my lot, but, he's not getting my firewood. If I got a tractor, I'm going to. My fun days. So, what winter time fun is.
Yeah.
Get to go,
Yeah. You don't have one of those power drills.
Yeah, I do have one, but, I don't always take it, and when I don't, I keep saying I should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I was trying to figure out, this was side of you.
That means like. I don't know how it works, but. Worked in my midterm in school, and I worked, we have five tuition. Find out, if you think we're gonna make it, we can. And I'm trying to figure out. Taking and telling. And we. Find out. Yeah. There must be the overall. Oh, really? Yeah, but. Yeah, and then next, okay, it's too long, like, yeah, I said, see what air conditioning. Before you know, like, lunchtime till 4 o'clock, we didn't work. Ready for Hans? Yeah.
Complete.
Right, you can order it. I think you're better off with a little bit of something else, because you get it, you're gonna move into it.
Another big project within the next 3 or 4 months.
Oh, and then they did all of this.
Yeah.
They go back and do all of the good one, that's the lighter one. Oh, and we were looking at the darker one. Oh. Like a gray or something, one up there.
I did take some pictures of it, I showed it to her today.
Yeah, so that's lighter, and the one has proposal.
Maybe.
All right, so we are back from our break. And we're gonna continue the agenda with the commercial application from Mike Hammond. The location is Hammond Lumber Company, map 4, lot 52. The purpose is a CRDO that would add a 6,000 square feet dry kiln. And with that, we open the floor for the applicant to present a we don't go to the checklist first. We just have the applicant present first. And it's
Presented, and then we ensure that the application's
complete.
That's about all I think we do tonight, and then we have to then publish notice to the abutters, and at the
right.
next meeting, they'll have an opportunity to speak, and we would deal with the application. If everything's there and okay, we approve it a meeting from now.
That's good. This is exactly my second commercial application from the same applicant. So we open the floor for the applicant to present the project.
Okay, Matt Massey.
Oh, I'm sorry for,
Roll call.
for the, roll call for the, person that is doing the minutes. If the, the new people on the floor can, present themselves. So,
Matt Massey, Hammond Lumber.
yeah, and,
Mike Hammond, Hammond Lumber.
all right,
Don Becker, Haley Ward.
all right,
Don Hammond, Hammond Lumber.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dry kiln, this is a replacement structure for an existing set of dry kilns that we have now on site. As you drive by Route 27, you're sort of looking at our dry kiln system. Previously, we were permitted for our planer mill facility, which is under construction. The dry kiln will be easterly of that in this orientation here. So the lumber is sawn, put on spacing stickers. It can stay outdoors for a period of time, or it can go directly into the dry kilns. The lumber is conditioned, the moisture removed. It then would pass through the planer facility and then to the retail stores from there. So it's a drying system. The company we're proposing to partner with is Nile, they're from the Bangor Brewery area. They're an industry leader in what is called a dehumidification kiln, which is, it's a heat pump in reverse, basically. Draws the moisture out of the space, and fans circulate, heat and draw the moisture out, and it's like baking a cake. You get it just right, and then you remove it from the structure. So there are 4 separate kilns, but they're all one building. So at any given time, 1 or 2 of them may be drying lumber, one of them might be empty, one might be being loaded. So it's what we do now. It's the same technology we employ now. So it's not a steam driven boiler. There's no, no change in technology for the site. They're electric dehumidification, and they're heated with propane. So that sort of shows what we call the containment areas, the kilns themselves. There's 4 of them with sliding doors, super insulated building, all stainless steel and aluminum.
nothing to corrode because we're getting a lot of moisture transfer. So each separate bay, it's like a little garage.
Closed loop system.
Yeah, everything is enclosed, the excess heat and any moisture is exhausted through these rooftop vents. And those are oriented west, away from any of the neighbors or populated areas. They're not very loud at all. We expect it to be a much more efficient operation for us. And that's pretty straightforward foundation. It's only 40 feet wide and then about 100 feet long. 153. 156, yeah. 156, yeah. Propane. The back room with the lower roof here, that's what's called the control room. That's where you go in and check your dials and your meters and stuff like that. And the larger structure is where the lumber is. So each bay is loaded by a forklift, and then when it's dry, it just comes out and goes to another facility, so.
As far as noise, there's no more noise than what the forklifts put out.
Correct. Yeah, we have decibel information on the fans, but it's very minimal. It's the quietest building we'll have on the site probably.
Kind of curious, on the water coming out of the wood, so that's sort of goes up in the air, it cools off.
No condensate. There's a little bit of condensate, that like you have with every heat pump, has a little bit of condensate as it removes moisture from the air. But it's not visible, and there's no direct runoff or any piping or anything like that.
Well,
So,
A closed loop system with limited venting.
yeah,
basically, it just goes back into the atmosphere, as vapor.
yeah.
What's the operating temperature?
Each bay, I don't want to block everyone's view here. On the back of each 40-foot wide kiln, there is a propane furnace that brings that vessel, that area, up to about 140 degrees of temperature. Once that is up to temperature, then the heat pump and the fans take over. So it's called preheating. So let's say in the winter, you've got a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice, a little bit of, whatnot on the lumber. That heating cycle gets rid of that, evaporates that, and then the heat pump does the rest of it. So it's not currently we're using number 2 heating oil in the much more complicated system. Propanes are gonna be more efficient and more environmentally friendly. So we're excited about that, and the buildings themselves are much tighter and more state of the art. The fans are all controlled by computer speed, and the vendor offers and can provide us iPhone access to the phones. So you could be on vacation and dry your lumber now. So now we have to come in and, it's like cooking with an old wood stove, trying to cook some bread versus a new oven. It's totally upgrade for us, so we're very excited about it.
Things have variable frequency drives.
Yeah, everything is controlled now based on the data feedback from the probes that are within the unit. So if one kiln is oversaturated with moisture, that one will work a little harder, the next one over is in a different cycle, and so on and so forth. So they're in one building, but they're operating independently of each other. It's not just one big block of wood, it's segregated. The fans and the motors that are in there can be variably controlled by the computer. If you want more moisture to leave, the fan gets turned up automatically, and then it gets turned down when you don't need it. So it's pretty smart technology. These fellows are pretty good at what they do. So basically, it's an industrial structure, all fire-rated materials,
Aluminum composition.
Either stainless or aluminum on everything. And
They don't have to monitor what's going on, it's all.
well, just take just a minute. We're gonna be learning because the technology is a couple steps above where we're at. But they actually, you can create what's called a recipe. So and so it's February, it's 0 out. The lumber you're putting in was just sawn the other day and it's frozen. That's one recipe. 4th of July week, the lumber is almost dry because it's been around all summer and it's, you know, so everything is modified and tracked by the computer to not overcook the lumber or undercook it. So the sweet spot, if you go by, if you do too much drying and lumber becomes brittle, we can't mill it and sell it, it'll crack or split or get all messed up. So this system will mist back or add moisture back. So it's like getting that perfect recipe.
So you're not gonna have any walk type of, lumber out there.
Right, if you have lumber that you're afraid is gonna cup or whatnot, you will add a little moisture back and it flattens out. So it's exciting, you know, we're already doing these steps, but we're doing it on a more of a manual basis and then your operator of our system has to be very in tune with what he's doing. This is a little more forgiving, which opens up, you know, future labor considerations. Gets more people in our workforce. Not a lot of people, they hear sawmill, they're like, no, I don't wanna work in a sawmill. But if you make the environment challenging and safe and creature comforts are pretty good, you know, we're looking at that as being a benefit for future labor force. To wanna come to work for us, so.
It's fun.
So when this one's constructed and done, you plan on taking the other one out? Or are you gonna make?
Well, the kilns that we currently have are operable. My experience, I'll defer to Don, you know, later, a management decision, but if you don't, it's like an old car. If you don't keep it on the road, you let it sit. So this is gonna be our primary. It's not, we're not, actually, we've increased our board footage in this layout by about 30%. So we've planned for the future for additional volume. And with the efficiency, we expect that we'll dry lumber on a 7-day cycle instead of an 8 or 9-day cycle. So we're thinking, get a couple of good things going for us with this new investment. So that the other ones effectively will become obsolete.
And then with, here,
This is where the new kiln will go. The old ones are all the way down over 27, just as you drive by.
You make that into a museum.
So it's phase 2 of our, you know, industrial expansion and refurbishing and, adjacent to the, you know, previously permitted building, and it's all part of the contiguous site plan that's all been designed, to meet all the criteria we need for stormwater and et cetera, et cetera.
Is the planer building beyond what the picture shows right now in terms of construction?
A few days, yeah. That's concrete on the left, the gray blocks, those are large concrete footers. And the ones on the right, all of those that are black have been poured.
A week behind.
A week behind on the photos, yeah. Building is arriving next Wednesday, a little ahead of the concrete crew, but that's okay, and, we'll be going right up in the air pretty quick on the planer building, so. Either, that's kind of a top view down, but, we move, you know, step by step, bringing our industrial manufacturing to the rear of the property. More room, safer. We recently had our 3-phase power installed by Central Maine Power, you know, they did a really good job, stayed on schedule. So, we're in good shape there. Things are moving along as expected, we're just hoping for 60 degrees in December. So.
Don't have any more questions for me.
Okay, thank you.
So, we should go through the application then? Any questions on the application? I have just a few notes and, page 16. When we ask, how will we, talking about, the tanks, propane tanks, how will be stored on site the propane? And, explain above that they're gonna have tanks and everything, and ours is gonna be above ground tanks. But we have to mark that up in page 16, just make an X saying above ground tanks.
They're gonna be above ground tanks, and we worked with our provider, Augusta Fuel, to bring the quantity down to 4 as opposed to 6. And they're gonna use a vaporizer, which is a mechanism that's commonly used to increase the pressure. So they'll be able to get by with just 4 instead of the 6.
So we should probably slash out 6 and put 4, and then mark above the ground an application. And at the end, probably, Mike can sign it off. That's page 16. And then, the other observation I had was that I have two more,
Four 1,000 gallons.
Yes.
In item 53 of page 19. The first question was answered, but they underneath it said, will groundwater exceed any federal secondary drinking water standard? I suspect that the answer is no too.
That is correct.
Yeah. So that needs to be marked too. Then,
53 is a no.
is it no?
Yeah.
And then. I'm not sure. Just reading the whole thing over and over again. In the end, we have. We have a DP, permit. And, when you go through that DP permit, I had those notes in the paper at home, and I left it at home. The DP permit is approved on 2012, 13.
2014, December 28th.
Job. Around my mom's birthday. So, so it says then there's a provision in the permit. About something every 5 years. That have to be checked.
Number of things every 5 years. We also have to submit them a notice 14 days before we start construction of what we're building, which we have done.
Right.
So that complies with the permit. The permit that we have, that's a planning permit, allows for this to occur without any further activity. Now, if the DEP wishes, they can contact us from what we sent them, and they can inquire, ask questions or other things. But we don't need any further action from them at this time.
Right. So, I mean, this is just, I guess from my knowledge. So the permit was given almost 10 years ago.
Yes,
So the permit stretched that long?
it is good forever.
Oh, really?
It's like, it's the same permit the University of Maine Augusta has, University of Maine Orono, a number of other institutions.
Okay,
It allows for a site to plan its entire possibilities in a way that gives them the flexibility to maintain their business. It was an attractive permit to get, so we got it. Applied for it probably in 2012. It did take a couple of years to go through the process.
sure.
And as long as we continue to be in compliance, There's actually a whole number of things that we have to do every 5 years with DEP, but as long as we're in compliance, we have significant ability to do projects without pre-approval.
And
They have the right to a number of things they can do as, after we built, on an annual basis. But
this is a deal between, Hammond Lumber and DEP. You don't have to prove anything to the planning board.
you don't have any jurisdiction. I mean,
Yeah,
we have to comply with your ordinance for your rules. That's why we're here tonight.
okay.
And we have to comply with their rules on a separate basis.
So I guess my point is that they say you are out of compliance.
We're in
Let's
compliance.
just
We
pretend.
don't have any easy way of, it would be difficult for me to get a letter from them because they have not responded yet to my notice. When they do, I'd be happy to share the funds, but, I'm not sure what you're asking for.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, let's say if you're out of compliance and you show him the permit. I taking the copy of the permit as good because it's forever,
Yeah,
but if you're out of compliance. Then that means that the permit is no good, isn't it?
no, you'd have exposure to, what the remedies the state has, which would be fine. There was a violation, a variety of things.
So the state will contact us, is that would be the case?
I don't think so. They would contact us and tell us we were in violation and threaten fines. There's been fines in the state of Maine and over $1 million. So there's a lot of reason for companies to comply. They
Okay,
have
I
significant-
guess what I was asking of is how do we know that the permit is still good and you're in compliance? Do we need to know that? I'm not sure. Is that,
Yeah, if you read the permit, you'll see it is good.
yeah,
And you have to have some faith that the state of Maine, follows through with
it's
their
taking you guys
rules.
out, okay, sure.
And given that we react to probably 500 or 600 DEP inquiries a year for our various clients. I can assure you that we get paid a lot of money to make sure we're compliant with the DEP.
We just had an inspection by Stasha.
Yeah, but there's a lady that just inspects your stormwater runoff and they just had an inspection. It was only 4 weeks ago or so. And ironically, I saw the same person at Moose River Lumber, who was a competitor, and I saw them in Sardis, which is a competitor. So, the state is, they have people that are dedicated to each of the items.
Hmm.
So your stormwater, they've never missed any of my clients. They know what the state, I think they keep track on computer now, so they know when your 5 years is up. And then they're looking for what you're submitting, and then they react. It goes very smoothly if you stay current. We do the same thing. We know everyone's 5-year clock, because they're not all the same. Yeah, Andrea Dickinson, our office takes care of those, so.
You won't have anyone else come before you with this permit because they don't issue them.
The program is going.
We were the only,
They're the only whole.
You're very much wrapped up for now, huh?
basically, Dawn had to take our entire footprint, improve stormwater control and
For all
compliance.
73 acres.
For the whole property, 100%, so that allows us to basically do something on the spur of the moment. Because we're already in compliance, we're already under their control, so that's, and then they realized that, they didn't want to deal with it anymore, so they stopped issuing.
Yeah, politically, they decided to not have the planning card anymore, but ours is good. Maybe someday it'll be back, you don't know. It's sort of it's not an uncommon type permit for industries in other states, but it was unique to Maine and it currently is not available for new ones.
All right, thank you. I think those are all my questions.
There, I had one, I've been looking for the last 5 minutes to see where it was, but I noted that part of the project is in the shoreline zone, within 250 feet of the stream.
Well, that, again, that came up at the last meeting, I prefer to answer that question. The way the application is written, we have to tell you that yes, some of our site is in the shoreline zone. That is about 1,000 feet from the dry kiln,
That,
but our lot is one lot. So the way your ordinance is written,
okay.
I have to disclose that there are portions of the site that are in the shoreline zone, but nothing that we're doing is there. And the drawings show it. It came up before, in fact, that we talked with the chair at the time.
Mhm.
I didn't know how to answer several of the questions, because it's not set up for you to have a unique area of your lot. It's set up for the entire lot. I tried to put some discussion on the side about it. We discussed it the last time, so I thought that was clear, but that's what's going on.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, or I heard you right.
Yeah, there's a portion on the top of the hill that you see from the highway.
Yeah.
That is about 225 feet from the shore. So it is, there's a little strip of those buildings that is in the shoreline zone. They were all built before the shoreline zoning existed.
Yeah, I was hoping I didn't have to ask you, have you applied for your shoreline zone?
Yeah, we don't have to apply for a permit.
Okay.
But I appreciate hearing that everyone read through the application. You have to read it to notice that.
I don't have any other questions, I guess.
No, the signature for the application, that's at the end, isn't it?
Page 30, yeah.
So they don't have, it's after we
He
vote.
did sign one copy, and unfortunately, I gave that copy to George. So I'd like to get your signature on
Okay.
mine before you leave,
All right,
and you can initial these other changes.
so, I think we're, good deal here, let me mark this off, this is what else. So I guess we can go ahead with the, checklist. Right. So you want me to fill this one up?
Yeah, I'll just pull that page, we
Okay,
can combine them.
so applicant is Mike Ham. Development name is Hammond Lumber. Or I should say Kiln for Hammond Lumber.
I've always wondered why the applicant is my name and not applicant is Hammond Lumber Company.
I can put both.
It just seems deceiving to me when you send out a butters notices that the applicant is Mike Hammond when it's Hammond Lumber Company.
But then
It
also
doesn't make sense to me.
here we have to put the name of the applicant and then add the, we need a signature.
Yeah, sometimes the name of the applicant is the contractor. Because they're the ones filling out the application.
I got you. Okay. Understood. Okay. The-
So, it'd be fine if I put next to Mike's name, Hammond Lumber? Oh, okay.
What page are you looking at?
It's page 33.
Oh, 33.
Okay, development name, I will put in here, CDRDO, well, that is CDRDO for,
And on the front page, the proposed name of development or use name was Hammond Lumber Drive. Hammond
Driveway.
Lumber Drive.
Okay. All right. Paid fee, that was already done, $100. Notice by, CEO to landowners within, 500 feet, that will be when we finish maybe today. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that open there,
Stop and go like that.
right, application form. Is that will be complete,
We can't say it's complete yet, so we
To
go
the end.
through this, so we'll come back to it.
so applicant's agent authorization letter,
Wait,
complete. Copy of deed, option sales agreement, lease, or all the documents of title, right, and interest.
please,
Complete. Written waiver request,
not applicable. You aren't asking for any
We're not
waiver.
asking for any waiver.
no. Copy of tax map of property. Complete. Copy of Kennewick Company soil map of property.
Complete.
Copy of USGS topographic map showing property location.
Complete.
Copy of Belgrade shoreland zoning map showing property location.
Complete.
Complete. Copy of flood insurance map showing property.
Complete.
Complete. Copy of national wetlands inventory map showing property.
I believe that's in here. Yes, it is.
Complete. Copy of main geological survey significant sand and gravel aquifer map showing property location.
It's all better be complete, because it was pulled from our last.
Yeah, I reused the last, they're all in there.
Yes, so
We'll reuse them for the
Tried
next
to put it in the
application.
same
Oh,
order.
still.
aquifer, the aquifer one.
So you have to say that.
Right. Change the name of the file.
This one here.
I don't see the aquifer map. Is
Well,
that-
I thought,
Oh, you,
is that one?
that's the topo map, I think.
Okay,
Yeah. I was looking
There's a
for that.
wetland, yeah.
What one is inventory?
Yeah, that's there.
Is that it?
I don't see, maybe you could supply that to us.
We certainly can, I can look through there too to see if I can spot it for you.
I was hoping that maybe it was. Minute afterward, something like that.
We can move to another item, I'll look.
Right, so I'll do that. Good idea. So, we'll circle around with that one. Copy of main drinking water program map of public drinking water supplies showing property location.
Is that the one we were talking about? I didn't see that one.
Santa gravel.
There's another one. What was the other one? The drinking water program. If you can supply it for the next meeting, I think that would be fine.
I'm not seeing it. Maybe there isn't one. Drinking water and,
We made it from the checklist last time.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I almost thought it was-
I had to look at it from my copy at the office, I don't know why. Sometimes they don't have any maps available, so I can verify that for you.
Yeah, page 8 addresses drinking water, but there's no map or water supply.
Yeah, which things that we, for some reason, we didn't see it in the requirement before. If I didn't change the table of contents, so I can't answer that.
So, so attachment 8, yeah, what attachment 8 actually is then? Attachment 8, it's a map here. Map, fisheries and wildlife,
It'll be the beginning of the habitat map, I think.
that's a habitat.
Oh, yeah, top right hand corner.
Habitat.
So,
You looking for that one?
are you trying I was hoping that attachment 8 was gonna be one of those two maps that were missing.
No, it was another map that you need.
Okay. So let's get going here. Copy of MDOT highway entrance for access permits.
I think it's not applicable.
Well, yeah, it already is just.
Okay.
Copy of MDOT traffic movement permit with traffic movement study.
I don't need one.
I need one. And then
Yes.
copies of other required state or local permits.
They've got the certification and attached to the bag. So. Because that was the only permit you needed, wasn't it? The
Right.
Yeah. So 124 by 36 site development plan drawn. Detail to scale drawings showing location and construction specification of drainage features, roads, sidewalks, access points, driveways, parking, traffic control features, fire control structures, and public improvements. That's not needed, is it? That's page 35, Mr. Baker.
Pardon me?
The top of page 35,
Yeah.
drawings to scale, showing location and construction specifications of drainage features.
Yeah, that.
In the back.
Seen that.
For site plan.
Oh, you got it?
Check in the back.
Okay.
What was the name of the drinking water?
Two pages in the back.
Oh.
Way in the back.
Copy of Maine Drinking Water Program map of public drinking water supplies.
Not a public drinking water, it's private well.
Before site plan.
So,
For this particular project, it's a private well.
yeah.
Well, there's no
Yeah.
well involved, we're just getting it right on.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a, what, non-transitory public drinking water supply based on the number of employees.
There's a public drinking, we're a public drinking water supply, but that's not part of the application.
Okay. Nothing to do
We have to
with,
do monitoring.
in other words, there's nothing to do with this project.
Correct.
It's just a retail store.
I think that makes sense.
Participant of the drinking water program in our.
Yeah,
but not in this case.
I would say, Sarah, that, they're not a drinking water.
So we don't need a map,
This project has nothing to do with, drinking water.
So we don't need the map.
so we don't need the map, so NA.
Not applicable, right?
And, well, we still need the geological survey, map,
Which one?
the gravel aquifer map
I thought I put, can you tell me what item in the application that is?
in page 33.
Yeah, item 33.
Page 33 is in the table is in the bottom row. Copy of main geological survey, significant sand and gravel aquifer map.
Page
She's
33 and
referencing
38.
the checklist.
That's a checklist, I'm talking about a checklist, yeah.
Where's that in the ordinance? So I can find it when the time comes, because I'm just going by your application. I made sure everything the application asked for was in there. So now you're telling me there's requirements that are additional to what the application asked for. That's catching me by surprise, and that's why those maps are in there.
Okay, that can happen. All right, let me,
It's 51, page 18 of 38,
Fifty-one. Oh, in the ordinance,
or on the application.
page 51.
Yeah, page, I'm sorry, page 18, question. 1.
Well, some of these I answered now.
Yeah, it says no, so the note says show the location of the sand grabber aquifer map, therefore. The answer to the question is no, then the map is not required. What do you think?
Yeah, that's why I didn't, yeah.
my map is not regarded, NA.
And, yeah.
All right. So we've been standing here, we've been good so far. So, sorry about that. Page 35 on the top. Detail to scale drawings showing location and construction of the specific drainage. Those are the ones in the back, all the way in the back.
Second, and last page.
Complete. Documentation meets applicable state and federal air quality regulatory requirements. Is that NA? I will say documentation meets applicable state, federal air quality regulatory requirements.
And that's on page 35.
That's on page 35, yes, as a second row. On the top,
What was that? The noise requirements?
the air quality regulatory requirements.
It wouldn't be applicable to this job.
It won't be applicable, is it?
Are they putting on the scene?
Soil erosion control plan.
Soil erosion.
NA.
No.
The soil erosion plan, we don't need any of that, is,
They got a soil map here.
Well, what they're asking for there, the time before, we didn't submit you anything because we have the catch basins, which have some, we also have the 4 bays in the wet pond on the inlet side, and all this drains to our treatment system. So we already have in place what we need for erosion control, so we don't need to add anything. We also have an underdrain that cuts all the water off. So all of those are on the site plan. It would serve no purpose to put a silt fence or a bark mulch berm or anything like that, because we already have all the controls in place.
Yeah.
That's why we can build where we're building.
They addressed that on page 21. That's the question 61. And they respond about the wet pond and stormwater treatment. After.
Okay. So it would run into the wet pond and we don't have to worry about it going anywhere else.
Well, we need to worry about it because our wet pond life and our maintenance frequency is affected by whether we let contaminants get in there. But we have 2 4-bays, we have catch basin sumps, and we have an under drain that kind of keeps water from coming down the slope. So we have a number of things in place to try to capture that sediment before it gets to our 4-bay. And then the 4-bay you drive by every day. So if you see your capacity is running short, you can clean it. It's on the inlet side of the pond as required. So the 4-bay is shows very good. It's in this area here. Doesn't show very good. We have a number of things that can stop the sediment ahead of time. If I put a silt fence in there, nothing would get there because the water goes into an under drain before it gets there.
Yeah, okay.
We're complete. MDEP certified contractor name,
The,
They're not
Number.
shoreline zone. So
okay, so not applicable.
where that's happening, but you are using,
Well, Joey.
yeah, Joyce, and they're certified. So.
Of the excavation.
So,
Their names in there, I saw that.
yeah, so then we said it's complete, then just things that the whole lot is in the shoreline and so. Even when this construction location is not even there. So I'm gonna say complete then. Location of site, structure listed on National Register of Historical Places, that's NA.
And
Wow, man, it's pretty historical.
then it's story, but yeah.
Location,
About 4 generations.
I think there might be one.
location of Maine Historical Preservation Commission archaeological sites, NA. Information needed to meet air quality standards, NA.
Say there's not much air quality you should get.
Information needed to meet access to public streets standard,
And
NA.
no new traffic being.
Protection measures for historic and archaeological resources, NA. Estimated quantity of flammable, combustible, hazardous substances to restore, handle, generator, including waste oil or antifreeze, NA.
No.
We're using propane now.
I think in some ways it's complete because they've got 4 tanks of 1,000 gallons and you don't have no other significant material. I would say complete.
Complete, okay? Evidence meet NDEP seating regulations for oil storage and hazardous substance, facilities.
It's the NA.
And then complete application provided to fire chief by planning board or CEO.
Who does that? Sounds you or the planning board? Copy the application to the fire chief.
I'll get it to him. And he'll send us a letter.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave that blank for now. All the information needed to meet material storage standards, including bulk storage of combustible and flammable materials and hazardous substances. That's complete, will be.
And say complete.
Visual impact assessment. NA,
NA.
plan based on IF and W vertical areas program recommendations to mitigate impact on natural areas and wildlife habitat, including deer wintering areas.
I don't think there are any habitats there that need any consultation with Fish and Wildlife.
NA,
Well, wait a minute. Ducks,
What's that?
Ducks?
Oh, the Fish and Wildlife is, no longer consider the wetland across 27 as being significant wildlife habitat, or put it this way, not moderate or high limited wildlife habitat. It was at one time, they split the
Oh, yeah.
Right. Oh, so we don't actually. All the information needed to meet natural resource protection standard. Any?
and I don't know of any.
Is board requiring post-development noise, monitoring and reporting plan, NA?
Yeah.
Information needed to meet noise standard, NA?
Things are based on what I heard tonight.
Exterior lighting plan and specifications for light fixtures.
Complete.
That's complete. Is board requiring post-development light monitoring and reporting plan,
I would say not.
NA? Information to meet parking standard, NA?
No new parking.
Written statement from fire chief on capacity of fire department to provide adequate protection.
And that, will come after they get the, hopefully it will come after they get the copy of the application.
Okay. Written statement from sheriff department approving any proposed security measures.
I would say that's non-applicable because the application says they're not dependent on the sheriff department.
All the information to meet public safety and emergency services standard. NA?
They do have information regarding, you mentioned a fence along the residential side or whatever. Yeah. So I would say complete.
Complete. Information to meet screening of structures, parking lot, and other non-residential uses standard.
Well, I may have been talking about the wrong one before, but anyway, we answered that one about the fence. I was messed up on the one before, I guess I skipped over it.
So you mean that the emergency service standard is NA and the next one is complete?
Yes,
Mr. Baker. Okay. The scale profile based on view of the proposed signs. And then all the information to be sign standard. And then
and
stormwater management plan. Complete.
that's complete because of the DEP plan.
All the information to meet stormwater management standard.
And
And then subsurface waste disposal site evaluation form.
there's no new septic system needed or designed here.
No, yeah,
All the information to meet waste standard. And then
Yep.
groundwater quality and quantity impact assessment.
I would say that would be NA.
Copy of the restrictions related to drinking water and groundwater protection. And almost there. 2 more pages. Copy of main drinking water program, public water supply approval and source, water protection plan, NA. Copy of MDEP stormwater management permit,
Complete.
complete. Phosphorus export, control method,
That's complete based on that permit as well.
Complete. Other information to meet water quality standard,
And
NA. Supplemental site plan requirements for mineral extraction operations, NA.
I think the rest of them are all
NA,
related to specific commercial
Mine,
activities, mining.
mining, mineral, hydro, geological thing, NA. Breathing extraction, NA.
Yeah.
Processing, reclaim plan, NA. Petroleum storage, NA. Mineral extraction, NA. Overnight accommodations, NA. Visual impact assessment, telecommunication, NA. Professional engineer certification for telecommunication, NA. Information meet, telecommunications, NA. Visual impact of wind turbine, NA. Impact study of wind turbine, NA. Turbine transport, NA. Hiring of engineer by town at expense of the applicant to document road conditions prior to use and damage after use, NA. Emergency response plan during equipment transport, NA. Turbine general liability certificate insurance, NA. All right. So it says to print planning board name of the chair. It's so I guess with the exception of the fire chief information, the checklist is complete.
Yeah.
All right,
We decided those two maps we talked about earlier weren't necessary.
They're not
not
applicable.
necessary, no.
It is interesting, I don't know if all the board knows, but that our treatment pond is also a fire pond with a draw for them.
Yeah.
To use both for us and for others,
Mhm.
since it has excess water available. It makes for a nice treatment system because it can serve both purposes. I would say a lot of fire ponds now are also treatment.
Spray your phosphorus all over the plant. You can spray your phosphorus.
Well, they don't consider that, right? In theory, it's not there anyway.
So the only thing that's pending at this time is something the town needs to do
Yeah,
rather than Hemlock.
there's two things we need to, the fire chief notification and getting their approval, and then we have to advise their boilers. Is that something that Mary does, or?
I've done it in the past. I'm sure I still have the list available.
All right. Very sweet, so we have to vote to deem the application complete. So I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the application is complete, except for the dealing with the fire chief, and that's a town responsibility. So for the purposes of Hammond Lumber, the application is complete.
All right. A second? Right, Greg second, Mr. Baker put the motion, and Mr. Alexander second, so let's go on a vote. Mrs. Morale,
yes.
Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Certain,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
And Mr. Longet, I say yes, and so the application is complete.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see you in 2 weeks again.
Yeah.
Then you guys all over the floor when it's ready. 1 year from now.
I had a tour of the facility back in, I think, 1978. First open house.
I heard you with not the softball.
Oh, I could catch one. I couldn't hit it.
And there's not, who does the ball?
You big softball player?
But
You play softball right now?
yeah, I played for Hammond Lumber.
Oh, you did?
It wasn't the Hammond Lumber employees, but Hammond Lumber's, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Your wife.
Donnie was on a couple of them.
Mike did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That boy.
Thank you. Take care.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you too much.
Thank you.
Hey, take care.
That's why he's behind 2-0 at the half. That'll be,
Yeah.
that'll be, regional championship.
Are they
Yeah.
playing right now?
Yeah, they started late, started at 7:45.
Did they play in Shawinigan or?
No, home.
Is that you're gonna be still coaching?
So,
Her daughter is.
Oh, my goodness. Not generous.
yeah. It happens. Thank you all.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
We're in which bit here?
We do not have minutes from last meeting.
Okay. So, we, Mr. Seal put together, the budget planning for the planning board. Now, I miss, speaking to him about this, that we don't wanna have wages this coming year. Because we're facing off the, secretary. So, the wages and benefits are gonna come out. So personal is gonna be zero. So the
So
real,
we're taking off the secretary.
yeah,
Who's paying for that?
the town hired, they used to be two part-time people in the front and Mary Vogel. Now I think there's those two are full-time in the front. So one of the two of them is gonna do the minutes.
Is there a postage in there?
We have,
Guys,
supplies and printing and transportation and education.
TV, office.
Would, PB office supplies fall under postage?
No, it's planning board office supplies. So I'm not sure what that would include. Other than a percentage maybe of what they spend up front, but. You know, these notices to abutters or certified letters, they're more than $10 a piece.
Or paper for copy.
So I'm thinking postage,
Okay,
because now they've set up a postage meter where code enforcement has a line item expense in the postage meter. So
so you have your own budget,
I do.
you can only pay for the postage? You want us to pay for that?
$10 a pop, and we're sending out 7 or 8 letters here, that's $80. And you know, we did one last year was like $150 plus just for.
So how much do you guys think we should put for that,
So-
250?
Actually, I think there might be a provision in this application where the applicant
Should pay for it.
sends them,
Oh,
provides the list, isn't, but that's not our. That's Smithfield does that,
Well, I think we do it here, you know.
yeah. Well, the applicant had to apply, over there provides the abutters and the postage.
Could be that it may, could be on the responsibility of the town.
Exactly, because they have a $300 application fee. We might spend $200 notifying them,
I
but
thought the application was only 100. No? I just saw that.
they three. Two things.
It's right in the checklist. I just,
Well, I guess we all
And
have
then-
some money then, but
in the first,
we'll be upside down on the postage now.
you're charging $200.
Yes, they asked me, and that's what I said, so that's what I wrote down. Again, that's Smithfield's $300. I'm getting confused. I guess we own $200.
So,
Postage,
Yeah, budget line,
how much, like $250? $300 for the year?
I guess if you do that every year and carry it over, it might build up to, you know, if you get a busy commercial application year. You can burn through the 300 with 30, application, 30 letters.
there any other time that, anything in shoreline that we have to notify about, or if we don't know, solve commercial, right?
I think so.
Let's say 150. That sounds good to you?
Better
I
than,
mean, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna send out 7 or 8 letters. On this application.
Yeah. And we did before the same thing,
That we did it to them.
200,
So that's that, yeah, twice in 1 year for them. There's your 150 already.
yeah,
And
200.
that's not including any other commercial applications. You know, we had the storage facility that we did. We're gonna have another one coming up in the village.
250. 250 is good.
about that camp mode, they usually do something.
Yeah, we had to do them too. I think you look at $300-400.
I think we ought to amend the ordinance next time we do an amendment, we should change it to the applicant
Pay,
sends the notices.
yeah,
Or pay.
they pay for them. Okay, 300.
You gonna
300?
send one to Mike,
Someone what?
a notice of his application?
I
The butter.
left the Hammonds out, but,
All right.
you know, there's a few along the stream there.
So what did we decide?
300.
300? Okay, so then we have 6,930 in for the budget. So we wanna approve that? I changed, what I changed is that I took off the personal line. I should strike that out, but I have $300 for postage. So when I do add it all up, it's 6,930.
We don't get paid at all?
No,
Well, we could put it in, we're doing the budget.
well, we can divide the $200 extra today.
We'll send a refund.
I'm just thinking out of the box here, you know?
All right. So, this is what I'm gonna send to Lorna, I'm gonna take a picture, send it to her. So we should we vote on this? Approve it? So I want to take a motion to,
I make a motion that we entertain the revised budget and the total amount comes to $6,930.
What? 6,000? I have 9.
Oh, 600.
Oh, because I took out the wages.
What?
I took out the wages. I took the.
Oh, you took out the wages?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Now, wait a minute. Wait. I'm thinking of is it personnel? 2594 and 2725, is that, our secretary?
yeah,
Oh, okay, so wages. Shouldn't apply at all.
no,
I understand that.
yeah,
So it is at 6,000.
930, yes. Because I added postage 300. That,
Right, so what is the total now?
6,930,
950,
930,
30.
yeah. So I have a motion first, need a second.
Second.
Mr. Alexander make a second, we voted. Mrs. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Surgeon,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
and so I get, so 5 in favor, no one opposed,
And you're in the budget committee, right?
and we did. Oh, you voted on it?
You and I are on, yeah, both, Sarah.
You guys can?
They started, we were supposed,
I forgot about that.
to abstain.
You
All right.
recuse yourself at the budget committee, not here.
No, I have to recuse myself here, because we're in the
So we
budget
can
committee.
support it on the budget committee.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah, we can if we recuse it, if we don't vote here, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's right.
No?
You're in
It's
the budget
confusing.
committee and another committee, you can't approve funding for the other committee. You can say, yes, we wanna ask for the money, but on the budget committee, you can't say, yeah, I wanna approve it, it's not a this or that. You gotta be true to the committee that you're serving at the time, right now, you're serving this committee. When you're on the budget committee, you have a conflict, you have to recuse yourself,
Oh, and I thought it was just the other way
I
around.
think it's the other way around,
is it?
I'm pretty sure. Or you can pick vote here, but you cannot vote there, you have to vote in one of the two places.
How many?
So I'm gonna actually officially recuse myself from it, so, you wanna recuse too?
Yeah.
So then we have 3 in favor, none opposed, and 2 abstained.
Right.
Yes.
All right, that will be, the 2 abstain will be Mrs. Morel and myself, so again. All right,
But
we'll fix that.
question, Alex, that you're on the budget committee
Yeah,
in a meeting and you're voting on this budget,
yeah,
you're gonna recuse yourself, right?
no, not there, I can vote because I didn't vote here.
Yeah, but they recused themselves. She,
But-
yeah, they
But
recused
that's
themselves at
a
different
partial
points.
decision, you've got partiality, you're starting a partial decision.
Well, let's get.
It is because from the Boyer Committee side, I'm saying, well, what the planning board said that they need is good. I cannot vote on both sides, but I can vote on one of the 2 sides.
Right.
I'm gonna have to dig this tonight again when I get home, because you're making me think.
I think we need to get an attorney involved with this.
Yeah. Can we write a letter?
Because what if the budget committee becomes full of people that wanna make sure their committee gets the money?
Well, Boyer Committee
There's
does
bias,
not appropriate anything though.
there's bias. Now, I'm on the budget committee over. at Smith.
You know, I want to take a motion to adjourn. No, adjourn, then that's the CEO report. What is it?
Yeah. we already
So
had
I
a-
got nothing to talk
Hey,
No, okay, I'm gonna need to take a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
so move, second? Said, okay, so, voting, Mrs. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Surgeon,
I wanna know what's going on in 50.
okay, afterwards, yes, Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
And me, yes, 5 in favor, none opposed, and closing the meeting,
Where's your gavel tonight?
right here.